Hey folks, it's Abby and today I'm going to be telling you all about my February TBR and what I'm planning to read this month. So January was a very slow month for me, and so I'm actually going to be transferring some books over from my January TBR into my February TBR because I've started them and I'm enjoying them. I'd like to carry them on. So we've got a few books to get through and I will start with the ones that I'm carrying over. The first and the most obvious is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This is one that we're going to be reading for a while now. I'm buddy reading it with Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. We read 2 chapters each day. We're going to take a while to get through it. I am loving it so far. Loving it. I've mentioned this a little bit in my January wrap-up, but yes, adoring this, annotating it, really enjoying reading it. For this month we are not reading it at all for about the first week. We're just taking a bit of a break. Both of us are having very hectic schedules right now, so we're taking a little bit of a break and then we're going to get right back into it in roughly the second week of February, reading 2 chapters a day again. So we'll see how far we manage to get through it this month. Last month we got 180 pages through, so we'll see how that ends up developing. But this is a fantastic, beautiful classic so far, and I can see why people love it. Then Black-Eyed Susans by Julia Herbelin. This is a thriller, something I don't read that often, but it is on my "these books will expire if you don't read them" list, and so I had to get around to it finally. I've had this since 2016 and I'm really enjoying it so far. I am currently 160 pages in. That's most of that was read last month. It's the 3rd of February, so I've read a little bit of that in this month and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm very interested in kind of how the plot's progressing and the points of view that we're getting both back in time and in the current day. So enjoying this. It is about a young woman who was the only one left alive in a mass grave from a serial killer, and they thought they had the right man convicted. He's about to be put to death from the death penalty, and evidence is coming to light that he was not the killer and that the killer is actually still on the loose. And so our main character has to relive this trauma in order to try and actually convict the correct criminal, both just to get him behind bars and away from other people and also for her own sense of closure. And then the last book I'm carrying over is City of Last Chances by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the Goldsborough GSFF, I always say that wrong, book that came in December, so was meant to be reading it in January. I am currently 45 pages into this, but I'm really enjoying it so far. An absolutely fascinating concept at the moment of gods and of deities, which I'm super interested in, as well as like the magic portrayal in this world. Very curious. Don't know a lot of it right now because I'm not very far through, but I do want to continue reading this, and also one of my goals for 2023 is to keep on top of my Goldsborough books coming in, so I need to make sure that I'm getting through this. So good job, I'm enjoying it. Now for the books that haven't been carried over from January. First up we have the continuation in the Don't Forget Your Towel-a-thon reads, which is The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams, the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. This is a British sci-fi comedy. I really enjoyed the first one. It's a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to diving in and learning more about this universe that Douglas Adams has created. Then for the Total Bollocks Book Club, the theme for this month is middle grade books. It's being hosted on Hannah's channel at the Bookworm Feast. She will be linked down below, of course. And so yes, middle grade books, and I'm going to finish out a trilogy that I've been reading for a few years now, which is The Crane Chronicles, with the 3rd book being The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. This is his Ancient Egyptian series. Is the only one I've ever read from Rick Riordan. I've never read anything else from him. I am so tempted to pick up the Percy Jackson series. I actually really enjoyed this. I unhauled the first book, which I slightly regret, but I gave it to my old primary school. So like I feel like I don't get to regret this here. But yes, it is ancient Egyptian mythology and gods interwoven into modern life, set both in London and in New York, if I'm remembering that correctly. It's been a while since I've read any of these. They're a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to finishing up this series and actually reading some middle grade, because I do not read a lot of middle grade. Warcross by Marie Lu. I've had this on my TBR for years now, and the instigator for this is that I read the Legend trilogy, just the first 3, I've not read the extra one that was added on, and it was fine, but I unhauled what's it called? This Morning Star? The Rose Society, that trilogy, by her, because I didn't want to read it. I feel like I need to get to this one because I clearly was not enamoured with her writing in that first series, but this one is about video games. It seems to be like on a similar vein to Ready Player One, which I really enjoyed. Something different from the series that I've read from her already. So yes, this is basically, I need to read this now and see whether or not I do actually want to read this and enjoy it, whether I want to read the second one, which I cannot remember the name of. So yes, I feel like it's time to see if I do want to read this, if I want to read the sequel, everything like that. It is time to get to this book. And then the final book is this month's Goldsboro GSFF read, The Witch and the Tsar by Olyeska Salnikova-Gilmore, which I've said wrong and I'm very sorry. This is a Baba Yaga retelling. I've never read one of those, somehow. So I'm excited, looking forward to this one. This is an author who was born in Russia to Russian parents but ended up moving over to the US. She was born in Moscow and then graduated from Pepperdine University, wherever the hell that is, and she now lives in Chicago. So Americanized but also Russian, so I think that this will be really interesting to see obviously how she portrays the folklore of her own country. And this edition from Goldsboro, the cover is the same as standard, but we do have absolutely gorgeous foiling under the dust jacket, a nice little foiled edge there, gorgeous end papers, gorgeous sprayed edges, which are always my favourites, and of course this is signed and numbered. I have number 507. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I haven't read anything Russian inspired in a while, so it's going to be a lot of fun to delve into this one. Other than it being a Baba Yaga retelling or Baba Yaga story, I don't know anything about it. As you all know by now, this is how I go into my Goldsboros, because I just love them. So yes, very, very excited for this one. We'll see how that develops. I just hope I'm actually able to get through this one, because obviously this one was a no-starter, really, in January. Very much enjoying it, just didn't read much of it. And then last but never least is actually an ebook, which is exciting because I've been getting back into using my e-reader after travelling a little bit in January, and that is Superior, about race science. I can't remember the author off the top of my head. This is one of my 12 books in 12. This one was recommended to me by Hannah from Ladder M. She saw it on my ebook owned list, which most people don't check, including me. I forgot that I had that, but I do always have loving a non-fiction on my listings, and this should be a very interesting and very educational and informational one to get through. So I'm very excited for this. That's all of the books that I'm reading this February. Let's cross our fingers that I actually managed to get through to these ones, because didn't manage so well last month, but I'm also not mad about that. If I don't manage it, I don't manage it. I'm making sure everything is nice and chilled this year. I'm looking after myself first, my TBR second. What is the book that you are most looking forward to getting to in the month of February? I am very much not sure, because I've got quite a few interesting sounding books on my TBR, but I think if I have to pick one, I think mine might be The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, because I'm just really excited to delve a little bit more into the Hitchhiker's universe. Let me know your most anticipated February down in the comments below. If you'd like to see how I manage with my February TBR, then the subscribe button is down below, and in the description I will have linked to every single person I've mentioned in this video, along with all of the links to my various social medias across the internet. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye!